glowing and mas healthy.
Thanks to Glutasine, I got my skin tone back. Thank you so much, Glutasine.
Every coffee needs a lotus.
What's the secret to beauty's beauty?
Langis.
Ito ba lahat ang gamit mo?
Ay hindi. Isa lang ang gamit ko for all. Moringa O2 Therapy Oil. Hindi lang malunggay. Meron ding olive oil and omega from sunflower oil.
This therapy oil helps relieve my dry and irritated skin.
It helps lighten my scars and stretch marks.
It helps make my hair young and healthy.
This is our beauty secret.
Sana all!
Zero oil.
Give employers more ways to extend a helping hand. The financial programs we design with our business partners focus on creating a safety net for devoted employees. We believe secure and happy employees are essential to a successful business.
Nandito ako nung nagpa-practice mag-bike ng anak ko.
Nandito ako nung nag-birthday si Mommy.
Dito ako nag-celebrate ng wedding anniversary namin.
Distance will always be a problem. So choose a home that makes life more fulfilling by bringing you closer to everything that matters the most. Arezzo Place Pasig. Live fulfilled.
Finma Properties, making room to build your future.
it really shows na yung skin ko ngayon mas moisturized, mas glowing, and mas healthy.
Thanks to Glutasine, I got my skin tone back. Thank you so much, Glutasine.
Every coffee needs a lotus.
What's the secret to beauty's beauty?
Langis.
Ito ba lahat ang gamit mo?
Ay hindi. Isa lang ang gamit ko for all. Moringa O2 Therapy Oil. Hindi lang malunggay. Meron ding olive oil and omega from sunflower oil.
This therapy oil helps relieve my dry and irritated skin.
It helps lighten my scars and stretch marks.
It helps make my hair strong and healthy.
This is our beauty secret.
Sana all!
Zero oil.
give employers more ways to extend a helping hand. The financial programs we design with our business partners focus on creating a safety net for devoted employees. We believe secure and happy employees are essential to a successful business.
Nandito ako nung nagpa-practice mag-bike ng anak ko.
Nandito ako nung nag-birthday si Mommy.
Dito ako nag-celebrate ng wedding anniversary namin.
Distance will always be a problem. So choose a home that makes life more fulfilling by bringing you closer to everything that matters the most. Arezzo Place Pasig. Live fulfilled.
Finma Properties, making room to build your future.
Hi, I'm Mel, and I am choosy. My ultimate skin goal is gusto kong mag-even out ang skin tone ko.
Hi, my name is Gian Anwada. My skin goals are to become whiter, fairer, healthier, and younger.
It really shows na yung skin ko ngayon mas moisturized, mas glowing, and mas healthy.
Thanks to Glutasine, I got my skin tone back. Thank you so much, Glutasine.
Every coffee needs a lotus.
What's the secret to beauty's beauty?
Langis.
Ito ba lahat ang gamit mo?
Ay hindi. Isa lang ang gamit ko for all. Moringa O2 Therapy Oil. Hindi lang malunggay. Meron ding olive oil and omega from sunflower oil.
This therapy oil helps relieve my dry and irritated skin.
It helps lighten my scars and stretch marks.
It helps make my hair strong and healthy.
This is our beauty secret.
Sana all.
Zero oil.
give employers more ways to extend a helping hand. The financial programs we design with our business partners focus on creating a safety net for devoted employees. We believe secure and happy employees are essential to a successful business.
Nandito ako nung nagpa-practice mag-bike ng anak ko.
Nandito ako nung nag-birthday si Mommy.
Dito ako nag-celebrate ng wedding anniversary namin.
Distance will always be a problem. So choose a home that makes life more fulfilling by bringing you closer to everything that matters the most. Arezzo Place Pasig. Live fulfilled.
Finma Properties, making room to build your future.
it really shows na yung skin ko ngayon mas moisturized, mas glowing, and mas healthy.
Thanks to Glutasine, I got my skin tone back. Thank you so much, Glutasine.
And we are live. Good afternoon, everyone. A pleasant afternoon to each and every one of you. Today is Marvelous Monday. It's another e-learning week for every one of us. And welcome to another e-learning session powered by Ariva Academy. So our topic for today is Cultivate Psychology Safety for your virtual teams during difficult times. My name is Irish Malanda Samson, and I'm your host. Everyone, please welcome our moderator, Mr. Howell V. Mabalot. Hi, Sir Howell.
Hello, Miss Irish Malonda Samson. Am I getting across clearly?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear, sir.
You look beautiful as always.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Okay. Join me, Sir Howell, in welcoming our participants from out of the country. They are watching from Toronto, Canada, Vadodara, India, Chennai, India, Tuaran, Malaysia, Subang Jaya, Malaysia, Lalitpur, Nepal, Doha, Qatar. Thank you for joining us today. Singapore, Bangkok, Thailand, Dubai, United Arab Emirates, Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates, Dallas, Texas, and San Antonio, United States. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. And in order for us to have a smooth flow of our e-learning session, here are the house rules. Let us know who are the first-time viewers of our webinar. Please type in hi in the chat box now. Let us know where you're watching as well so we can greet you. Who are the first-timers? Good afternoon also to Miss Beeper Garcia. Thank you for joining us in our session. Okay, Florimel Ortega, good afternoon. Let's check in our YouTube channel. Hello, Ms. Mitch Mungkal. She is watching from San Pedro, Laguna. Hello to Lisa Flores as well. Ida Lee, Beth Carino, good afternoon, ma'am. Jeline Cruz, good afternoon, watching from Cavite. Okay. And Timer, Miss Sharon. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for watching us today. So let's do our sound check. You will be needing a good quality headset. Please type in the following codes. Please type in 111 to show if you can hear us loud and clear. Okay. Okay. Melody 111. Johan Gomez. Thank you. Antonio, Cherry, Gina Lynn, Trisha, Uriel 111. Thank you so much. So meaning we're loud and clear and audible. Type in 222 if you cannot hear us or no sound at all. 2121 means the sound is breaking up, or there's a log, and question mark if you don't understand anything. But so far, 111. Thank you, Miss Gina Marie Makatangay. Okay? Moving on, we will be having a quick break later after the presentation of our guest speaker and before we move on to our question and answer portion. For our question and answer guidelines, participants' microphones will be temporarily disabled by the administrator during discussion to avoid interruptions. Questions will be entertained after each topic of the session. For questions and clarifications during the provided time after each topic, please click the raise hand button for the administrator to enable the microphone for live questions. Yes, later in the question and answer portion, we will entertain live questions from our Zoom participants. Type in your questions at the Q&A box. Again, at the Q&A box, not in the chat box. One question at a time will be entertained. Comments and feedback, please scan this QR code. This will be directed to our feedback form. Please send us your comments, suggestions, topics to discuss in order for us to improve our future e-learning sessions. And now, to discuss Cultivate Psychology, safety for your virtual teams during difficult times. Mr. Howell Mubarak, please introduce our speaker today.
Thank you, Miss Irish. Am I still clear?
Loud and clear, sir.
So I'll take advantage of this opportunity to do a special shout out for our VP, Michelle Abundo Muncal, Ms. Lizzie Flores, and Kuya Earl Flores. All right. And for all the Ariva Academy family, thank you for watching. Our speaker for today has been a human resource leader for 16 years before becoming the founder and organization development consultant of Breakthrough Catalyst. Her span of wide HR experience encompasses the Singapore civil service, multinational companies, and the private sector. She specializes in organization development, change management, leadership development, team psychology, safety, and workplace performance coaching. She is the only Asia Psychological Safety Facilitator by Academy of Brain-Based Leadership. Wow. And she will be taking us through the topic, Cultivate a Psychological Safety for Your Virtual Teams During Difficult Times. Everybody, put your hands together for Miss Jasmine Liew.
Thank you. Thanks, Howard. Thanks, Irish, and also Ariva Academy for this chance to do a live webinar right here in Singapore. I'm sure a lot of you are calling in besides Philippines, Singapore, and different parts of the world. It's of June and it's raining cats and dogs here in Singapore, but I see this as a positive sign. You might hear some thunderous applause, not from the screen here, but from the outside where it's raining cats and dogs. But thanks for coming here, and I think Ariva Academy did a great job to contribute this webinar as part of CSR efforts, especially these tough times of COVID-19. So I will share about this topic on Cultivate Psychology Safety for your virtual teams, with key focus on virtual teams, which most of us are working at home or leading at home during the difficult times. So I'll be sharing my slides now to all of you.
Sure. You may go ahead, Ma'am Jasmine Liew. Did I pronounce your name properly?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, right.
Okay, great. Yes. I love your background. I love Singapore. I miss it.
Thank you. Yes, I also miss Philippines. So mabuhay to everyone. Yeah.
Mabuhay to you.
Yes, thank you. Yes. Right. So I will share about psychology safety and how do we as leaders manage that or cultivate that with our virtual teams. So my organization is Breakthrough Catalyst, and I think now with this COVID-19, we ourselves has also achieved breakthrough as a leader or as an organization. Breakthrough is a breakweave from old ways of thinking and doing, and our past way of leading and managing people and organizations, how it's being run, may have changed. And I'm here to share this webinar with you, an hour and 30 minutes Q&A, as what Irish has said. Put your Q&A in the Q&A panel and not at the chat box, and we try to address them as well. I'd like to thank those who actually sent your prior questions to me, and I've included in the content as much as I can.
Good.
So what will be covered today will be first define what psychology safety for employees is a very huge term. So some of you may thought that it's related to psychology, but maybe we talk about the context in the work environment. And how is it important to have psychology safety for remote employees and virtual work teams, which will be a key focus, as well as the neuroscience and the brain fundamentals that drive our decisions and actions. Next, understand the safety domains that we all have in the work team. Lead your virtual team members effectively through the safety domains. And finally, a Q&A.
Good.
Right. So this report, it just came out in May by a US company, has shown some surveys being done, and employers are ready to reopen offices, but they recognize challenges ahead. Today is the last day of Singapore's circuit breaker. For some companies, I think in Philippines, they are also having a little bit of lockdown, working from home, and tomorrow we are going to reopen in Singapore. I think Philippines as well. So over 425 businesses in this US states took part in the survey. They actually found some kind of concerns, and through this survey, many companies are still holding back and still prefer their staff to work from home. So we shall do a poll now, a real-life poll in Asia context, especially with Philippines companies, majority over here. We're going to start a poll, and these questions will be posed by Howell, which is D, work arrangement. So Howell, we're trying to share with them what's the poll questions.
Sure, ma'am, Jasmine. So to all our participants here at the Zoom room, choose one of the three that's been provided. Working arrangement due to COVID-19, will you choose A? We will allow employees to continue to work from home. Or B, we will stand by our safety measures and insist these employees come to the office, or letter C, unsure at this time. By the way, ma'am Jasmine, today is what we call the general community quarantine, as our participants answer the question.
Sure.
Now, this is the first day where we can go back to our offices.
Today is the 1st of June. Okay,
today,
that's a great news.
1st of June, yes. And so we'll find out, this is going to be exciting, whether we're excited or not about us coming back to work.
With 130 people or companies, right? For
Yes.
Singapore, tomorrow is the first day of school. Our students has been at home for about 2 months.
Yeah, we've been home since March 15. It's 77 straight days, 78 days.
Wow, that's great. So at this moment, 60% has voted, and you could see 80% still prefer the employees to continue to work from home. And 17% is stand by safety measures and insist they come to work. And still there's 5% that's unsure at this time.
Yes. So let's show our YouTube viewers the result of the poll question number 1.
Yes. So we shall pause
77%. Yes, ma'am Jasmine.
That's very huge, 77%. And there is still some coming back, but with safety measures. Shall we save this poll for future research? I think this is a very good pulse check at this moment. So I'll move on, and we shall stop the poll now. We can see the majority of you are still 77% allowing employees to work from home. Right. So we shall save this poll and move on to the next portion. All right, so let's just stop the poll. So offices may reopen, but as we can see, remote work is here to stay. It's inevitable. It's not something that we can reject or resist, but is the new norm, the reality. So does that mean your employee, they have the mental stress during this COVID-19, especially those that's working from home? Do they feel the social isolation and there's no connecting or connection with you as the leader of the team? So as the leader, looking at the statistics just now, 77% is still leading from your home. Your staff is working from home. Are you ready to lead differently in this new normal? First, we've got to understand our human brain. Since million years ago, our tribal brain is actually fighting for survival, to fight ourselves and protect our chances of survival against wild animals and other tribal groups. This is how our tribal brain evolves. And I'm sure every organization or companies have workplace safety measures and acts to ensure that the place in the environment is safe to work, is conducive to work. The key thing is about safe. Our brain actually seeks from safety from the tribal times. Just like now with COVID-19, safe is a very important word. Just like earlier, you all mentioned companies have to ensure safety measures for the staff to come back to work. And to be safe, every country, every one of us in the world has started social distancing or wearing a mask. And to be safe, we have to work from home. So safety is such a key thing, and our brain seeks safety. Is psychological safety at your workplace important or not? Or have we actually neglected it? Or perhaps in the working teams with key focus on remote employees and virtual teams, psychology safety in fact play a greater part because you do not see them face to face. It's actually in the virtual screen. And next, how can we help our virtual teams and remote employees feel safe when they're working from home? So traditionally, and even now, we are always concerned about safety measures. But I think the next step forward is psychology safety at the workplace and even in the virtual world where we are leading and managing. So let's start about the father-employee engagement. It's a very hot topic. In fact, he started in 30 years ago. He's the father of this employee engagement, Dr. William Khan. In 1990, he wrote a research paper about the psychological conditions for personal engagement as well as disengagement at work. He defined engagement at work as employee bring his or her best full self at work. And there are 3 psychological conditions that enable it. Number 1, meaningfulness. Does the employee find the work meaningful to the organization and society? So that's the reason why I decided to support Ariva Academy, because it's really meaningful to do this. It's for CSR purpose to help the Philippines community in overcoming the COVID-19. Next, safety. Does the employee feel safe to bring their full self to work without risk of negative consequences? And third, availability. Do they feel mentally and physically able to harness their full self? So amongst these 3 psychological conditions, safety is already a key thing. And his recent interview in 2015, he mentioned that we as leaders have to treat our employees as true partners to have this continuous dialogue in improving our roles and work processes. And leaders have to make it safe in order for employees to speak openly about their experiences at work. So what is psychology safety in a team? Last year in ATD conference, I met Amy Emerson. You will know her very well. She's from Harvard Business School, where she did a research on psychology safety in the context of working teams. So what is psychology safety? It means that in a work team, everyone has a belief that no one will be punished or humiliated for speaking up with ideas, questions and concerns, and even mistakes in the working environment. The team feels safe for interpersonal risk-taking, to be authentic, to ask questions and share. I still remember when I was in HR, many of our employees are very enthusiastic on the first day or even the first month of the job. Sometimes in the meetings, this newcomer will ask lots of questions and ideas or even share concern. But if a leader does not practice psychology safety, they will straight away ask more critical questions or even ask the staff that since you came up with the ideas, why don't you do it? Or even say, shut up, this is not a place for you to ask questions or give ideas. And that leads to psychological fear. So perhaps you may want to relate to your own experience when you are an employee at the times. What kind of leaders have provided psychology safety for you where you feel that you have the freedom to speak up and ask questions or share ideas or even mistakes, but you're not being punished for speaking up? So we shall do the next poll, and I'll invite Howell to lead this poll questions about what is psychology safety climate in your virtual team.
Thank you, Ma'am Jasmine, Liew, and for our participants here in the Zoom room, please type in your answer or choose between or among 3 choices A, B, C, D, and E on what is the psychology safety climate of your virtual team. A, team members are very comfortable to questions, to share ideas, problems in the team openly. B, team members are comfortable to questions, to share ideas and problems in the team openly. C, team members may be comfortable at certain times to question, to share ideas and problems in the team openly. Or D, team members are not comfortable to questions, to share ideas and problems in the team openly. And letter E, team members do not post questions, share ideas and problems at all. We'll see the intensity of level of trust, feeling of comfort, and the idea of sharing openly their ideas about problems in the team. A, B, C, D, and E. Type in your answer now. So, Ma'am Jasmine, if I may ask you, as they type in their in the most recent seminars or webinars you conducted, what was which of the 5 was the most popular of the answers.
That's right. Actually, amongst all these five, that was in Singapore, most of the Singapore companies, they mentioned B and C.
B is good. B is good.
And yeah, but I would say most are at C. They're comfortable at certain times, not all the time, right? And of course, there are some who's not comfortable. So we just
here,
the poll, and you want to share the results of the poll?
Yes, we have seen the results. So Dr. Jasmine, it's B. Same with Singapore. In the Philippines, we are comfortable to questions, to share ideas and problems in the team.
Right, and followed by some that is comfortable at certain times. That's quite close. That's 25% and 17%
Yes.
comfortable.
And only 9% don't feel comfortable at all.
Yes, and I'm quite happy to know the last question. Only 2% felt that they do not pose questions or share ideas at all. Right, let's see.
We hope to hear from them later.
Great. So we shall save this poll and then let's move on to how can we create and cultivate this climate in the virtual space.
Exciting. That's exciting.
Right. So I'll stop the poll here. So I'm going to relate this to mental health at work because I see many questions about mental health. And I thought that is something that you can relate to. When there's a poor climate of team psychology safety, we're talking about teams, the mental health that will happen to you as a team member. Feeling alone working from home can cause social distancing and disconnecting. And it can be pretty depressing in the virtual work environment where you hardly have connection with your leaders in your team. Unable to express your views and ideas or questions during this time because you're fearful that you'll be judged by your leader and your team and decided to just keep quiet. Or you've been criticized and ridiculed before in your virtual meetings. So once bitten, twice shy, being shamed by a boss or team member, you decided not to participate anymore or ask questions, and this affects your self-esteem. Or perhaps there's a lack of emotional support from your leader and your team. The workplace in the virtual space can be very toxic, and that hinders you from being at your best at work. And lastly, I'm sure now with working from home, our life and our work is integrated. It does affect the quality of personal life where you so much daily virtual meetings and micro reporting to ensure that you are working from home and not resting at home. And lastly, not feeling appreciated or valued by your leader and teams. So Google did a recent research of 2 years across 180 teams. And what's the number one factor for high-performing team, which may also relates to virtual teams? Many of us think that high-performing team must be a great, inspiring leader, or they've recruited experienced, qualified team members, or perhaps they have very great goals, KPI setting, process, or even ensuring that things are done. But through their research, the number one factor is psychological safety. Before we talk about leadership, structure, process, KPIs, or resources, or people's capability, it's about the team members in the team. Do they feel safe to take risks and be vulnerable in front of each other? Or do they just keep quiet, do not ask questions, and do not share problems they face at work? So in Singapore 2018, our Straits Times, our national newspaper, did also an article about getting staff to speak up actually boosts productivity. But a lot of leaders may think, giving my staff airtime to speak up doesn't waste more time. We're going to have long meetings. We cannot come up with a decision. And perhaps, it's a waste of time debating and having conflicts on what is the ideas that we should adopt. But through this paper, the research shows that the more comfortable the employee feel about speaking up, the more productive they are, because employees at different levels, they have real experience to share ideas and areas for improvement. And a sense of psychology safety among employees can help to handle disruptions in this rapid changing digital economy. So I'm going to share the research done by neuroscience, and this is based on the Academy of Brain-Based Leadership, linking psychology safety with our neuroscience. So these are the group of certified team debrief facilitators. We went through a very rigorous process, and currently I'm the only one in Asia certified in this program. And Dr. Dan, he's a neurologist. Right, so I'm not a neuroscience trained, but through this program, I'm going to share with you some brain fundamentals that tell us about brain and our psychology safety at work. So this is another paper in 2004. It's pretty medical, but I'm going to dissect for you to understand why rejection hurts. There is our physical pain and our social pain. There is actually a shared pathway. If you look at this MRI scan, on the right and on the left shows a physical pain, and on the right shows a social pain. What it means that there's an overlap between physical pain when we experience bodily injured or hurt by someone, and a social pain when social relationships are damaged or hurt, are threatened, is actually a shared system. What it means here is that our physical pain and the social pain are all interrelated. Sometimes you can recall that physical pain comes about when you're being injured or hurt in a bodily reaction, but social pain could also make you feel unsafe, and that also can cause the kind of pain you have. So brain fundamentals from a neuroscience perspective, from the MRI research, shows that our brain will detect clues that is harmful to our survival, such as physical danger and social rejection. Since tribal times, that's how the brain works. When you have an attack on your psychological safety, that's where your brain triggers a stress response or even a coping mechanism to minimize the threat that you perceive. So how can we have this safety preference and understand about ourselves in the work? There are actually 5 domains. We all have the 5. It's a framework to talk about brain domains in a team and work context. Just that we do have preferred contexts. So safety means security. A is autonomy, F is fairness, E is esteem, T is trust. So there's 5 domains, and the last one, which is U, which I'll talk about that as well. Let's look at safety, our brain domains. If your preferred safety brain domain is being met, your brain will feel psychologically safe, rewarding, and motivating. On the flip side, if your preferred safety brain domain is not met, you will feel psychologically unsafe in your brain, triggered by stress and demotivating, as you can see from this compare and contrast of the person. So I'll cover the first, which is security. We have all the 5, as I mentioned. It's just that which 2 are our main preference, but it also means that your team member can be different from you. I just did a coaching with one leader, and during this COVID-19, this leader was very concerned and upset that why the staff is so slow and resisting to changes when she sees that we need to get things done fast and quick. But to this staff, my leader thinks that change is very easy. This is unfamiliar to me. I've never done this before. Doing a different role, task is difficult. There's no clear directions and certainty. Do you hear these complaints from your team members at this time, whereby they want certainty, but yet you can't give any answer? Or perhaps with these very fast changes, even in Singapore, some of our employees in a particular department have to help another department during this time where they need more resources. Or even in Singapore, we have deployed manpower across different companies, whereby one company, they don't need, just like in the airline industry, they don't need so much manpower, but they've deployed them to another organization or another department. So perhaps you hear this kind of triggers from the staff. And why is that so? There's nothing wrong with them because their brain craves for security. Security is a need in our brain that's rewarding, is something that is safe in the environment, is predictable, and the change is threatening to the brain if there's no clarity, consistency, and certainty. So that's the first aspect of security. The next brain preference for yourself, and when I'm going through this as a leader, you can also think through, do you behave in this way? Do you like this kind of preference? And is this rewarding for you in your brain or not? Autonomy. Now, some of the leaders and members, employees may prefer autonomy. I have some participants in my training, they told me that during this time, my boss became a micromanager leader. Partially working from home, leaders may not know what is the best way to lead. And situations may come about whereby my boss is breathing down my neck, I have to be virtual throughout the day, my webcam on to ensure I'm working. I must reply my emails fast and follow my boss way of doing things. I cannot come up with my own ideas. And there's a lot of micro reporting and micro tracking. Do you feel that as an employee, or are you also doing that as well as a leader? Now, if you yourself as a leader feel that way, this is one of the situations that happened. One of my participants, she as a leader, she liked autonomy. So she gave the staff a lot of autonomy. Right? She doesn't really give them any directions, but give them something to do. But perhaps for us, our staff may also want that kind of autonomy, and their choices in the brain is having choices in making decisions, how things are done. And the lack of choices and self-control or lack of control decreases the engagement level of a team member. So perhaps some of your team members, they don't want security, they want autonomy from you, giving me choices. The next domain that makes us feel rewarding for some of us is fairness. And that's me. I have very high in fairness. Before I did this certification, I always wonder, why am I so upset and affected me when I feel that things are not fair? So I'll share my own personal experience is my case. In HR, sometimes I get very affected and demotivated. I believe in work principles, values, and standards to be fair and to guide me in all my decisions. And when I see things are not being done this way, I get very demoralized. People who enjoy fairness want to make decisions, and they felt upset when decisions are made without consultation, and everyone should have a voice in the process. So perhaps in these virtual teams, have you seen any of your team members feeling upset and unsafe when they do not have a voice to speak up or be part of the decision-making process or being consulted and ensure there is fairness and equality or consistency? So the brain craves for fairness because we want to see ourselves and others in the team to be treated fairly by the leader. So when I was in HR, it's not just myself to be treated fairly. I feel very rewarded in my brain when I see other people in the team or even how employees are being treated fairly. So the team members feel very unjust. You may even hear some of their complaints, and when you share with you, this is so unfair, this is not right. There's no level of communication, they're being left out, there was no transparency or involvement to get everybody involved. And that means this person's crave a lot in their brain for fairness. The next is esteem. What is esteem? Esteem means that in your team, some of these members want praise and recognition, and they may like the limelight or the spotlight. Hence, if they do not have praise and recognition, they get very stressed because they don't get it from a leader or from a team. So how do we look for esteem? It's how you compare yourself to others and how you think others will view you. So the brain is rewarded when you regard yourself highly as compared to others, or when you think others think highly of you, and that is esteem. The next thing I'm talking about is trust. Trust is back to your own teams and look at your current team members now. Is it birds of the feather flock together? Are they homogeneous or are they diverse in terms of age group, in terms of values, strengths, and even different countries? There's also this saying, opposite attracts, just like couples, right? So in your team, are they mostly birds of the feather that flock together, homogeneous, or they are more heterogeneous, where they are very different in their views, personalities, background, and age group or experience? So people who have high need for trust means that friends and foes are very important. Friends means that these are people in my in-group. We share the common interests, values, and likes, and we can talk about. And foes are in the out-group. So in a work relationship, we can still work together as foes, but it could be transactional, not deep. It's just get the things done and that's it. Or perhaps even in the teams, the out-group, you do not really see eye to eye in many decision making, and you find that this person don't seem to cooperate or help you to get things done. So actually, people who have strong need in their brain for trust means that there are team members that they like and dislike, and this do affect them. We are all social animals, and we crave for social needs. So people with high trust as a safety domain means they thrive in workplace where people in the team are similar to them at work, because that increases their sense of belonging and inclusiveness. So look at your team now. If there are more team members that belong to the outgroup in a diverse team, would that affect your team members' collaboration? That means most of them see themselves as outgroup, but they will still get things done. They're still part of the team in terms of job title or department. But it just felt that most of the time there will be certain people that feel they're outgroups. The last is you. This is not out of the 5 domains, but you means that you has a chance to actually change. So from these safety domains, from the neuroscience research, we actually discover what is your brain preference, and you have a better self-awareness, like what will reward you. And of course, if that reward in the brain is not taken away, it can be triggering you and creating stress, disengagement, and demotivation. Like earlier I mentioned, my highest brain preference is fairness. It can be rewarding for me, but when there's low fairness, it became a trigger point for me. So leaders and team members can have psychology safety to take interpersonal risks, to share about the brain preferences. It's not a bias or pigeonhole, but talk about how each of us have our brain preference, and this will brings more clarity in terms of how we communicate and get things done, to clear miscommunication as well. The team can be more aware, and it's very powerful in the virtual teams. COVID-19 is not going to end soon. Even today's newspaper, they talk about WHO. It's going to be sometime, we do not know when. So virtual teams, remote teams is going to be part and parcel of our organization and as leaders. So how can we be more using the safety domains to help us to connect and not be affected when you as a leader and employee do not see eye to eye in certain things? Just like I mentioned, all of us have the 5 domains: safety, and also autonomy, fairness, esteem, and trust. So from this profile that we did, we actually get every employee and leaders to do. For instance, this could be a leader. You can see the highest score is 7.4. So he values a lot of in-group inclusiveness. And the second highest is fairness. And the third is autonomy, 6.4. So we usually look at the first 2 and 3 to understand which are the top 2 or 3 brain preferences you have. So a leader that I coach, she has very high autonomy. So that's why she thought that since my brain 5 autonomy is rewarding, I also treat my staff the same. I don't really give them much instructions. They should know what to do. I just tell them these are broad ideas, this is a timeline, and I expect these results. But the staff with very high security will get very stressed because my boss is not communicating with me and think it's so easy to be done. It's so unpredictable and uncertain. And for someone who made decision without including anybody or making others feel safe, the person with high fairness will felt threatened and disengaged. And again, if a leader do not value esteem, they may not give recognition and praise openly or freely. The staff who wants esteem needs may felt neglected. So from here, knowing each other's preferences, we can take the interpersonal risk-taking even at a higher level. So what I usually do is, based on the brain safety domains, I will always ask the team what is similar and different between the leader and the team members and amongst the team members. And how can we actually complement and collaborate? Rather than seeing things differently, what are the strengths and how can we complement each other? And perhaps also identify some sources of current and even future conflict so that we can do something about it. At least now we know what makes me so upset and triggered is not because it's that person. Rather, we all, our brain crave for safety, and we all have different safety domains in us as our preference. Next, how can we improve our virtual team psychological safety? Maybe in the work teams, it's easier because we see each other face to face, body language straight away, you will know what to say, how to say, and when to say. But in the virtual team, is a bit more challenging. By knowing our team psychology safety, we can start to protect and nurture each other's safety needs, and we become more sensitive to our safety drivers and triggers. As I mentioned in the earlier slides, from the neuroscience research, physical pain and social pain, in terms of social rejection, where you felt threatened and safety domains are being triggered, they all fall in the same brain pathway of pain. Next, appreciate the safety perspectives of every team members, because doesn't mean that an employee who thinks different from you is because they just do not see eye to eye, but now you understand that we all crave for safety and there's nothing wrong, and just that the brain fundamentals and domains are different. This promotes openness and interpersonal risk-taking in the virtual space, where we can share ideas, ask questions and opinions, and even feel safe to speak up our problems. I think in Asia, we tend to be afraid to speak up our problems. We felt that we could be judged, or we want to have self-preservation from our leader or team members that we are good, we have no problem. And this kind of psychology unsafety will lead to a lot of issues that is undercurrents and things are not being done. Finally, we can harness the strength of the safety diversity of the team to build high-performing teams and value-creating teams. As done by Google research, the number one factor for high-performing team is not the leader, it's not the team members' expertise alone, but experience is psychological safety. That is the main fundamental climate. So these safety domains, some key takeaways for this webinar. Those who are keen, email me and I will be able to send you a complimentary safety profile that for you to identify amongst the 5: security, autonomy, fairness, esteem, and trust, which is your highest preference. And I'll be able to do a coaching session with you to identify and understand more about these safety domains, and how have you faced any challenge working in your team members who has different safety domains from you. And of course, Ariva Academy for bringing this opportunity to be here from Singapore live, virtual space. I think that creates such a huge breakthrough. We don't need to be here physically anymore at this moment. Psychological safety as the key to high-performing and value-creating teams. You can contact Ariva Academy for virtual programs that I can do under Team Safety Workshop for the organizations in Philippines. I decided to save more time for Q&A. I think that is more interactive and something that you're sure want to know at this moment. But the context will be on psychological safety. Right, so I hand over to Howell.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Jasmine Liew. Everybody put your hands together.
Thank you. Wow. Silence applause. Okay, also few virtual applause. Yes.
So happy. 40 minutes of intense, highly informative workshop. And you know what? I have a lot of takeaway already in a matter of 40 minutes. I love that you want us to be more aware of safety. And the acronym safety, security, autonomy, fairness, esteem, trust, and view will be very useful. And this is current, this is timely, and this is what we need, especially in times when people now are uncertain and are unaware of what will they'll be getting when they come back home from work today, being the first day of work here in NCR. So again, thank you, Ma'am Jasmine Liew. Okay.
I'd like to make one important announcement. I think this webinar is pro bono, even myself. But I think we give the donation for the purpose of the fellow Filipinos who are in survival mode during this difficult period. So I think Ariva has posted that on the chat box. So feel free to give some contributions.
And we will follow your example for doing it pro bono, doing it for free. Then we will do something and give something for free in return. So don't you go away, everyone. We'll pause for a 2-minute break. And what will happen is that during 2 minutes, Ma'am Jasmine Liew will maybe grab a bite or sip a cup of coffee, while you in the Zoom room can type as many questions as possible related to psychological safety. I'm so excited already. And when we return, if the first part has been very exciting and informative, I believe the second part will be even more. So don't go away. We'll be right back. We promise.
Every coffee needs a lotus.
And welcome back to Ma'am Jasmine Liew's webinar on cultivating psychology safety for your virtual teams during difficult times. This has been powered by Ariva Academy, and this is part of our way. The program support our frontliners, our way of helping during COVID-19. Learn and share. This is the call of the moment. We gave back something to you. We have been giving back since early April. Now it's already June. We'll do this till July. And you can pay it forward for receiving something for free while you gain access to all our live webinar series for a cause. You may donate an amount to help families in distress. If you have 100 pesos or 200 or 1,000 or 10,000, depending on what you can afford and how generous your heart is. Together, let's show our support to our fellow Filipinos who are in survival mode. During this difficult time of the global health crisis, this is in partnership with Ariva Foundation, Ariva Achievers Foundation, Bayanihan Act 2020, and the Bayan ng Mahayhay. So click on the link, ariva.com.ph/donation, and let's change lives. Again, thank you, Ma'am Jasmine, for doing this and saying yes to our request to facilitate a webinar.
Academy. Thanks to the audience from Philippines and people from Singapore and different parts of the world.
Globally, we are being watched. Thank you for our viewers and participants. And thank you, Ma'am Jasmine. At this moment, I'd like to greet our Philippine participants from Aklan, Bacolod, Baguio, Batangas, Bulacan, Cagayan de Oro, Cavite, Cebu, Daet, Camarines Norte, Davao City, General Santos City, Iligan City, Iloilo, La Union, Laguna, Legazpi, Nueva Ecija, Pampanga, Pangasinan, Quezon Province, Rizal Province, Tarlac, Tuguegarao, Valencia, and NCR. We have hundreds and thousands of fans all over the world, Ma'am Jasmine.
Yes.
Are you ready now?
8 people. Yeah, I have 3 questions already on the Q&A. Shall I address them now?
We'll be reminding them of the Q&A mechanics.
Yes.
So for our participants who'd like to ask your question, type in your question not at the chat box, but at the Q&A box. We have plenty of time to accommodate your questions.
That's right. In fact, there are 3 questions now. Joel, do you want me to address the questions?
Sure, ma'am. But we also would like to encourage our YouTube live stream participants to type in their question. And at the same time, we also have the present question you received early this morning.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, so let's start off with the Q&A box. The first question from an anonymous attendee. Can I read this for you, Ma'am Jasmine?
Yeah, sure. You can read to me.
How do you promote psychological safety in the office?
Right. So I believe this is not the virtual space, but in the physical office. So one example is to share about why is psychology safety important for the organization. I've shown you examples of how does it lead to high-performing teams where members and team members feel safe to ask questions, share ideas, and most important, problems they face. Actually, there's a saying in Chinese, also in English, which is failure is the mother of success. Problems is the mother of success, because we should not hide or keep our problems to ourselves. It's for the learning purpose and improvement prevention purpose. So psychology safety is very key at this critical time. Even now in COVID-19, we do not have the answers. When will this end? And what is the solution? We just have to go with the flow. So the more we need in the organizations to create that safety for people to share and up-level the organization innovation. The next thing, of course, through the safety domains is ability for us to share our brain preference. As you can see, we all crave for safety, part of neuroscience research. Social pain and physical pain is the same. Social rejection, right, is the same. It is imprint in our brain. So from that conversation showing our safety domains, it's a safe conversation. It's about interpersonal risk-taking, that we all prefer different things, just like different foods that we eat. And that will help each of us to have a better understanding, prevent miscommunication between leaders and their team members. So I've answered that broad question of how do you promote psychological safety. First, shows what is psychological safety in the workplace, how does it help in teams and organization, and of course, doing the profiling gets to know your preferences. Okay, so I've answered live.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Jasmine.
Yeah.
Now, Ma'am Jasmine, I have received a message from my own personal messenger. Just to clarify, you don't have to be a psychologist to promote psychological safety. Am I correct?
That's right, because a lot of people mistreat psychological safety as mental wellness. So you notice that I spent quite a fair bit in the earlier part to talk about why psychological safety, right? And you also link back to employee engagement, the 3 conditions where we feel that we are leading a meaningful job that can contribute, and we feel safe to do our best. So that's one of the 2 conditions. The psychology safety has linkages to neuroscience. I'm not a neuroscientist, but from the certification program that I took, and currently I'm the only Asia participant and certified in this program, I found that, wow, actually neuroscience has lots of things to talk about psychological safety. So it doesn't refer to psychology. So that's why the clarification is done in the first start of the slides as well. Yeah. Do you want me to answer the second
Jasmine?
question?
Okay, the second question, I'll read it for you and then you will answer this. Elvira Garcia. Thank you, Ma'am Elvira, for the question. For Ms. Liew, what advice can you give for the team members who have stopped communicating to their boss or stopped giving ideas because the new boss only listens to himself? This is a group of executives, and their owner hired a new GM a few months back. The executives used to directly report to their owner.
Sure.
Thank you, Ma'am Elvira.
Yes. So this shows that there's no psychological safety at all. That team members don't want to give ideas or do not want to communicate, right? So this new boss, perhaps...
So this new boss is an outsider.
Yeah. Perhaps he has lack of self-awareness. Maybe you can, from what I shared about safety, perhaps you can also make some guess that which is his safety domain. Is he more on security? Because security people, they may want something that is more certain, right? self-awareness is key as a leader. So most of the time, I coach leaders because leaders may have blind spots and they do not know what they do not know, or they're very used to the comfort zone that they used to be where they are leading. So they sometimes bring back the past leadership style or the comfort zone to lead the team. And I felt that this is an important conversation, but is the team ready to take the interpersonal risk-taking to connect with this new boss? Or is there another way to give feedback? I think feedback is a gift, right? So we can have positive feedback, but of course, when we have a communication with the GM, be candid and also share constructive feedback on what can be done better. So I thought this shows there's psychological unsafety, right? So that is how team members maybe have to find out. Sometimes I look at myself as an employee before. I do have leaders who may not be so inspiring, but I look at the leaders and ask myself, what is good about the leader?
Yes.
Can I learn from the leader? Because not everybody is perfect, not even us, right? So what is good about this leader that I do not have and I can learn from? And I think seeing the leader from a more positive angle will build connections. But I think you can share about the safety domains. I think that is a good start to perhaps there's one domain that is very, very firm about it. You feel very safe. And that's why you find that there seems to be some kind of disconnect and you feel unsafe to speak up. So that's my question for this participant. Yeah.
Thank you, Jasmine. And if I may ask, will it also be okay if the new GM never listens to the other executives? Can the executives give an honest feedback to the company owner?
It's really depending on the maturity of the organization. Sometimes we do that in employee engagement survey results, whereby it's anonymous. And when I was in HR, I used to drive the employee engagement results. We look at organization development lens. We do see some toxic department and some toxic leaders from the survey results. And very apparent is the quality statements, the written statements. But what we do is really take it at a very neutral, fairness, right? So we also talk to the leader to understand more about.
Okay, great. That's great.
As I mentioned, leaders may not know about their blind spots. They could be very one direction, but leadership nowadays, we talk about 360 feedback. So whether it's but I felt that first build that trust with the leader first, build that connection. And perhaps that will help you to give that feedback easily. Or you can start with praise first. Praise and then what you can do better to and you can mention to the leader what you can improve or do better as a form of feedback.
Thank you, Jasmine. I'd like to remind all of our Zoom participants to type in your question at the Q&A box because I've been seeing some questions being typed at the chat box. And Ma'am Jasmine, to be fair to our participants who pre-sent their questions early on, I'll be reading the first question in our list. Joan Ricote is asking, as a health worker, what are the things we must do to avoid being stressed with the current situation, GCQ, or the lifting of the quarantine, not really the enhanced quarantine, but we're still being, as people and workers under general quarantine, we are now required to report to work more often than we were before. So how can they be safe when they are, as health workers, every day exposed to COVID-19?
All right. Healthcare is something very passionate in my heart. I used to work in a hospital and I do train a lot of healthcare professionals as well and nurses. Yeah. So I think the first thing is healthcare really lacks self-care.
Self-care, it's
very
true.
Burnout. It's a burnout profession. Today, I just read a newspaper in Singapore asking about the healthcare professionals, the nurses, how are they feeling? They are very burnout in terms of manpower shortage, huge manpower shortage. And the worst is the public are actually avoiding them. The public looks down on the healthcare professionals, thinking that they're dirty, they have the virus with them, and they're very rude to the healthcare professionals. I think that is very, very bad. So maybe I talk about the workplace context, but society really differs. As I mentioned, I can't talk about safety precautions in terms of preventing yourself from from facing this COVID-19 and ensure that sanitation is there. But I think as a healthcare professional, if you felt that more things can be done in terms of the safety measures to keep yourself safe while serving at the front line for the patients, it's important to speak up. Yeah, as I mentioned, that safety is one of the basic fundamental of humans' needs, right? You talk about other needs, safety is the first thing. So talk to the supervisor that I felt more things can be done, or there's some inadequate resources that to ensure our safety. The next, of course, the mental stress is really there. I think as healthcare professional, I really salute you. When you face the patients, you have to put up a very strong front that you are helping and serving, but deep down you're very tired, you get burnt out, and perhaps you may even feel unappreciated. So I think the community that can help you the most is the people around you in the hospital, which is the leaders provide psychological safety for you to share your problems, your concerns, and not being judged for speaking up. I think that really gives us the assurance that I have a voice, right? I can be at my best. Or perhaps from the safety domains angle, some healthcare professionals may think that I prefer my boss to give me autonomy because autonomy is my preference. When my boss asks me a lot of details, micromanaging me, does not trust me, it gives me more stress, right? And maybe for some of you as healthcare professionals who are concerned about security, maybe that certainty, the kind of clarity and regular communications from your leader helps. So actually, safety domains can be applied to any industry, any occupations. Of course, that would change in the context of what you're doing. Yeah. So I have mentioned that and talking about the need to speak up is one way to avoid stress and burnout. Yeah.
Thank you, Ma'am Jasmine. Anonymous attendee is asking you, is psychological safety a way to develop assertiveness?
That's right, because you dare to take out the risk to speak up. You're not fearful of being judged or reprimanded or scolded. I think that really takes a lot of courage. Remember the story about this in Denmark? Maybe you heard about the emperor with no clothes. Yeah, the emperor is a very arrogant emperor. He thought he was wearing a very expensive, priceless coat, but actually he was wearing nothing. But throughout the whole parade, all the citizens dare not say anything, but they were all congratulating him and saying, wow, what a very gorgeous coat you're wearing. It's priceless. It's the most beautiful one I've never seen. Until what happened? Until a young boy who dared to speak up and say, the emperor is not wearing any clothes. Right? So why are people feeling so unsafe? Because perhaps of past experience or current experience where when you speak up, the leader is very judgmental.
Yes.
Leader do not value it. So I think this psychology safety has a lot to do with leadership awareness, change, and also the culture. Yeah, and we have seen more younger generation coming. I think for the Philippines as well, the young generation, the millennials, like my kid, who is a Gen Z, in school, they speak up, they ask questions, they assert their viewpoints. So psychology safety is here to stay, and even more as we have newcomers and younger generation coming to work. Yeah. So I've answered that questions on a way to develop assertiveness.
Thank you, Ma'am Jasmine. Another anonymous attendee is asking you, in our corporate setting, we have low scores in team collaboration. Listening to you now, perhaps psychological safety is a factor. As you suggested, all team members have different personalities and different score in the safety area. What practical steps should the team take to learn to collaborate with each other and make things work? Thanks, and I learned so much from you this afternoon.
Thank you. Yes. So actually, a lot of times collaboration fails because we do not trust each other, and we get very upset that why are you like giving me a hard time? For instance, someone who has very high security, right, in the team may be very uncooperative and resist change, and the one with high autonomy may a lot of times don't tell you what they're doing because they like to have their own freedom. And the one with high fairness may also expect a lot of decision making to be done thoroughly, taking into many considerations and include everyone. And the one we trust means that we actually build relationship well. So you're right. One of the key reasons for lack of collaboration is perhaps we don't feel safe to collaborate because there is no sense of purpose to work together. Physical, superficial, yes. Transactional, but not deep, not transformational. We need to move from transactional, being asked to do because it's part of the role and being ordered in the hierarchy, to transformational. So with these safety domains, bringing out to share, as I mentioned, it's not about whether you have good or bad domains. We have all the 5. It's just that which our preference. The same what kind of food we like to eat. So when we have that conversation, we are taking interpersonal risks in a safe environment to talk about, hey, this is my preference and this is what I want, what I like. And my brain feel very rewarding, very motivating when this domain is being met. But it also means that when this domain is not being met, I get triggered. I get very upset and stressed by it. So with that open conversation, we start to realize that sometimes the team members do not work well with us. It's not about we and them. It's about the brains, our brain's preference that create that. So with that open conversation, that will help the team to unveil and the team awareness, what's the next step forward? How can we avoid this? By understanding your safety domains, what do I need to take note of? How should I protect or take your safety needs into consideration? It's just that when you make decision, you don't just, let's say you're very high in autonomy and you don't really care much about security needs or people who want fairness and you just want to get things done fast, and now you become more mindful of being inclusive with people with a different safety preference. Yeah, so that's how I answer that question.
Thank you, Ma'am Jasmine. And I'd like to point out something from what you said about inclusive or inclusivity. Ariva Academy, I was able to facilitate several seminars and workshops for this client of Ariva Academy. It's a multinational company. And they tried and they succeeded in upholding a culture of respect. And we have done a lot of seminars on diversity and inclusion. And it came to a point when everybody who comes in can wear whatever they want. Men wanting to wear women's clothes, women wanting to wear men's clothes. PWDs or people with disabilities or different abilities are welcome. Everybody can speak up respectfully. They have a common CR for everyone who would like to relieve themselves, and there's no judgment. And the way I see it, you mentioned about safety. Trust has become one of their strongest pillar by advocating respectful culture. And we were amazed. And we see how people become empowered. And that's a beautiful thing, Ma'am Jasmine.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing about that, the high-performing team. That's a high-performing team.
That's a high-performing team. Thank you, Ma'am Jasmine. We also have a question from Emelinda Alana. If a leader is micromanaging, what is the best way to avoid conflict and call her attention that it is ineffective for her team members?
Yes, there's many ways to answer this question, but today we talk about psychological safety, right? So I explain in that context. First, I think when I share the 5 domains, perhaps you might have known what is that leader safety domain.
Okay.
I do not know the leader personally, and there's no way for me to give you a correct answer, accurate answer, but I sense that leaders who micromanage maybe are very concerned with security, because security need is for certainty. The brains like certainty, they like clarity, they like consistency. So when they micromanage, could be this way of leadership helps them to feel safe because I have awareness and control about what is certain, what is right, what is predictable, when I know everything is being done in the way I want. And I'm very sure this leader has very low autonomy. If she has high autonomy, she will not be micromanaging. She will be letting you to decide how to do it, but given the timing to submit, the results to achieve, and the resources that you need to manage. So this, from what I've seen here, from the behavior, it seems to be high need for security. Right? And of course, if you can do the profile, we can have a conversation with her.
Thank you so much, Jasmine. From Christine Ada Gonzalez, how can we ensure psychological safety during online trainings?
Actually, it's very ironic. I've been doing a lot of virtual training for the past 2 months, and I've never met my participants face to face except on the virtual. But yet, we felt much more connected. For me, I'm an introvert. Introvert people, I find that the virtual space seems to work well for us because the physical space, from the handshake, the face-to-face body language, sometimes gives us, we need more comfort, need more safety in us. So I thought that the online training, psychology safety, first, we're setting the ground rules or the norms or house rules, because that is the baseline of the expected behavior for everyone to feel safe. And whenever I train in the virtual space, sometimes my participants attend the training. It's not their choice. They have to come because they're forced to come. And I always ask that question to them, that why are you here? What's your learning objective? Okay, to get them feel safe to speak up about their learning objective. And sometimes they really tell me, I do not want to come. I'm forced to come, or I still do not know my learning objective. But I felt as if we let them feel safe to share and we acknowledge it, and later on, when I actually acknowledge it, I know where you're coming from. Perhaps along the way, by this day to this program or 2 days program, you can find something that resonates with you. So I think that makes them feel safe, that there's nothing wrong if I speak up that I'm actually here, but I'm being sent and forced to attend training. And the other way I did for the start the training usually is to ask a question that's relatable to everyone. That means everyone can resonate. So for instance, like one of the common questions I ask in Singapore context is, what is one thing you learn or discover about yourself during this circuit breaker? Because we have not been working in the office for close to 2 months. So what is something that you learn or discover about yourself? And I can tell you, everyone in the virtual training speak up and share. And that brings connectivity. Although we are from diverse background, diverse companies, we all have a common point, which is that question. So I've answered that in the terms of doing online training. So
thank you, Jasmine. Anonymous attendee asks you this. Sometimes what is difficult is regulating oneself to protect others' psychological safety. How do we improve this?
So what is difficult in regulating oneself to protect others' psychological safety? First, are you winning? First is awareness, right? Next, after you're aware, are you willing to self-coach, self-reframe? Besides getting a coach to train you, self-regulate. So for me, before I know about psychology safety, I was actually very affected by unfairness. I do not know why I'm always so emotional affected. It triggers me a lot, even to the, not just a work setting, even personal life setting with friends, when things are treated, when people are not treated fairly, when things are not right, it does affect me. So when I went through this program, it was a huge change. I started to realize that, hey, not everybody wants fairness. Not everybody's the same as me, So there's nothing wrong with someone with a low fairness, and I have a high fairness, and I get so upset with someone with a low fairness. So I think most important is, after you know that we are all different, because we all have different safety domains, we start to be more open and receptive to the other party. It's about the rock that we are holding. Do you want to hold it for so long? It's time to let go. So I actually learned to let go. I start to realize that there's no need for me to expect the other party to high fairness, although that's very rewarding for me. Now I'm okay, because I know that you may have low fairness. It's fine, because we are not the same. So I answered that question about the...
Yes, thank you, Jasmine. I think the struggle is real when you try to change other people's personality and behavior. Which is why it's important for them to regulate the emotions. Self-restraint is, of course, in the Philippines right now, very important. And all affected by COVID-19. Anonymous attendee asks you this. How do you call attention to someone who is not participating at virtual meetings of our team?
So when
Where's it? Where's that now?
someone
Where's that now? How do I call meetings of team while providing psychological safety?
Okay, so let me try to re-clarify the question. So how do you call attention to someone who is not participating at a virtual teams? Yes. So why is this person not participating at the virtual teams? What about in the past? Is he okay at the face-to-face meeting? If he's all along like that, right, then I think there's no difference. He's already engaged. But let's say he's very engaged in the face-to-face meeting, but disengaged now in the virtual meetings, that means something is not right. Right? I think that's where you need to have a heart-to-heart conversation, one-on-one, not in a team setting. I think remember psychological safety has to feel safe that my esteem is not being affected. One-on-one with the person to ask what's happening, to lay expectations, to ensure that this person is okay. So I think that's see whether is there a change of behavior before COVID when you work face to face and versus now when you work from home. Right. So I think that really requires you to have that one-to-one conversation with that person.
Yes. Thank you, Jasmine. From one anonymous attendee, what can I do to cope up with my anxiety in my everyday work from home?
Yeah, so first identify what is the brain domains you prefer. Right, the one that's rewarding to you, right, means that if your boss or your team members give that a lot to you, you feel less stress and less triggers. So for instance, if someone with high security, right, they would like their leader to give them more certainty, more directions, and also try to give me more clarity in what I'm doing, or even if can't, at least have a conversation to ensure me, right? So that's one thing, to know first what is your safety domain. And of course, that also means that if let's say you have high security and your leader don't give it to you, you will create more stress to you.
Yeah.
And we always see this happen between a staff who has high security needs versus a leader with high autonomy. A leader with high autonomy will not give security. High security needs the attention, because high autonomy leader is I enjoy this autonomy, and I think that you can be able to manage yourself. I will give you the broad directions and results expected and timeline, and you can manage yourself. But you give to someone who has an employee who has high autonomy needs, he will enjoy it because he finds that my boss is not micromanaging. He has a high trust and give me that leeway to be creative and decide, have a sense of control in what I'm doing. So I think it can be anything that triggers stress. You need to ask yourself which part of the safety domains, and that triggers because it's lacking from your leader or lacking from a team, and how would you use that conversation? If let's say you have no chance to give that conversation, maybe it's yourself. You have to reframe and start with your self-coaching, self-awareness.
Thank you. Now, I learned of my new boss informally, and this boss informed me of what I'll do via email together with other functional teams. The additional job is supposedly his job based on prior organization, but it becomes problematic. Is the way he delegated proper? Because I'm not happy with the way it is communicated.
That's right. So this shows that your needs, safety needs, which the safety needs, you rather than you mentioned the informal, right, and via email, perhaps your safety needs could be maybe esteem. You feel better if the supervisor has spoke to you face to face, give you the encouragement, and not just very cold, just an email, get this done, this is what's supposed to do. Right. So this shows that you are being triggered by one of the domain. Okay, you can, if you really want to find out more, you can email me to do your preference, but you should know what triggers you. It could be also fairness, because you feel so unfair that your supervisor never asks you for your opinions and get you to do this when it's supposed to be his job. So it could be also you have very high need for fairness, and it's triggered when these things are not done properly, right? So this could be the key reason. And again, conversation with the supervisor, share safety domains. If it's not ready, he finds it's not mature enough, we have to start from ourselves. As what Howell has said, it's very difficult to change others. We have to learn to adapt and reframe ourselves.
So fairness and esteem are this person's main
Fairness
concern in
and
the
esteem, I felt, was from what the behavior that the person was describing.
Thank
of course,
you.
the profile will be more accurate to know what they really are.
Thank you, ma'am. One anonymous attendee is asking you, how can I win the trust of my employees?
How can you win the trust of employees? I think that trust is a very big word. First is, are you willing to share? Okay, so psychology safety also is part about leaders. Leaders do not know all the answers. And it's nothing wrong for leaders to be vulnerable to share their problems, vulnerable to share that this may not be my strength. That's why I recruited you. I need you to be part of the team who has the strength to help me. So I think leaders can win trust by willing to share open disclosure, your concerns, your problems, your issues, and I think the staff will feel glad to solve because they may have other ideas, or this could be their strengths because no one has all the same strengths. And safety domains is a way to win trust because we are not here to look at everyone with a judgment eye based on our colored lens, but knowing that we all crave for safety. It's been shown in neuroscience since tribal times. Social pain and physical pain are the same. Social rejection in the workplace is the same. And how can we nurture, be taken everybody's safety needs into consideration in our work, communication, decision making? So that builds trust, although we are different in our safety domains.
Thank you, Ma'am Jasmine. From Maria Cristina Elauria, what does existing research show about how a team or department can thrive with psychological safety measures in place, team initiated, notwithstanding their organization's lack or absence of psychological safety measures?
It's a very good question. So Amy Emerson did her research in a team setting, not the organization setting. Organization setting is changing the culture. So we know that culture is made up of people, leaders, right? And people, even within teams, there's also subculture. Yeah. So you start from your teams first, right? Your teams, because it's easier and it's nearer to you, to build that psychological safety and promote this to more teams. When there are more teams, there's a ripple effect. When more teams are more aware about the importance of psychological safety, besides importance, the key is nurture. That's important. Cultivate. That's why my topic is on cultivate, right? That psychological safety. And cultivate is not immediately short run or just a short-term effort. It's the environment to allow this to grow. And we find that psychological safety can be very effective when leaders themselves believe and practice it. Right, so I have a conversation with one of my family members just a few days ago. I said, how come when your phone calls, teleconference with your bosses, how come sometimes the staff can also disagree with the boss in the conversation, which I find is a bit different, from Asia, we respect our boss, we will not ask questions or challenge his views. And I asked my family member, why is that so? Because our purpose and the team norms or ground rules as a group, as a team, is we need to have diverse views so that our products can be better. Our intent is to be innovative. So innovation doesn't come with standard answers. It's about different ideas, and we can just try, experiment, and do, and not say taking the risk. So I thought that is a very good way that the top leader, actually nurture it, despite his staff was asking questions and say, so-called boss, I don't agree what you say. I don't think it's possible. And in that conversation on virtual phone, I was quite surprised, but I think it seems to work in that the leader played that role very well.
So this has been the material of Amy Edmondson, right? Is she from Harvard or?
Yeah, Harvard Law School. She did a research on word teams. I think if you watch the YouTube videos, very amazed. She mentioned how sometimes at work we know something is wrong, but we did not speak up because we remembered the last time we speak up, you're being punished, ridiculed, or scolded. Or perhaps you felt that if I do it right, what my boss think? Maybe my boss would think that I'm not competent enough. I better keep myself.
So I'm glad that the team, for it to be highly functioning, is to have no fear, and they will not have fear speaking up if they are being respected. They can trust each other, and all the
Yeah.
safety domains are there,
That's right. And also they know that why are we doing this? Just like
and the intention of doing it.
and problems, yes, is because we are learning. It's a learning opportunity to prevent from happening, so that we can get better. And sharing problems, if there is psychology and safety in a team, sharing problems means punishment, scolding, fault finding. But in psychology safety space, that is not, because we want you to share so that we can do better.
I want that, the safety space for everyone to really be productive.
That's right. Yes.
Okay, so Jocelyn Saklolo, how do we ensure that an employee will not get punished on his own opinions about his own group if the issue is within his internal team?
So let's say if you are the leader, you have the authority and empowerment to decide what to do. If the employee shared something, even a mistake, take this as a learning opportunity. So there's this saying I learned from one of the Singapore Chinese boss. Okay, I'll speak in Mandarin first and explain in English, but sometimes this is more meaningful in Mandarin. 对事不对人, which means when issues are being shared, look at the matter. It's about the issue, the objectivity, the factor. It's not about the personal attack.
Okay.
So the intent is to learn so that we can prevent this from happening, and others can also learn as part of knowledge sharing, knowledge management. However, if it's a repeated mistake, despite it's being coached, I think that would be an area of concern that requires being or other issues. It doesn't mean that psychology safety means our teams can always make mistakes, without any answerable accountability. That's not the intent. Psychology safety is not about being nice. It's about being authentic, when you share problems, but learning and preventing it from happening. So that's what it means.
Thank you, ma'am. From Reynan Joe Ganil. Can employee work in manufacturing plant as machine operator and work as delivery rider after his shift during COVID-19?
Okay. This question may not relate to psychological safety, but I think many of us are taking multiple roles now, perhaps due to the financial constraint or difficulties being met. But first ask yourself, okay, maybe this is an employee issue, right? Taking many multiple. I believe in Philippines you have an employment law and act. But in Singapore, we are open recently that employers should be allowing their staff to work in another company if it's downside for them. Like now we know the high demand will be healthcare, social distancing, ambassador, and then recently we just launched this few days the digital ambassador to teach our elderly senior people how to use digital devices. And you can notice COVID-19 digitalization is the peak now. The catalyst is COVID-19. So that's where some companies, like in the airline industry, in the tourism, in the hotel, where there is no demand for their business, some employers actually work with other companies and other industries to allow their staff to work there temporarily. And I thought that was great. It's an exchange of resources and talents. We have our cabin crew in SIA working in healthcare, working at social distancing, because down current there's no job, or that totally there's no flights at this moment. Right? So rather than a waste of talent and manpower, take the good use, put yourself into good talents and learn something differently. So I think that is really a humane way if currently we have no jobs for them, but can deploy them to work elsewhere.
Okay, so Reynan Joe Ganir, if you feel like your safety is being compromised, you can choose to either protect yourself and look for another job, or do your job safely wherever you are now. In the Philippines, ma'am, we are looking for 9,000. We have 9,000 vacancy, 9,000 people who will be contact tracers. Because we don't have the technology to do it. We have physical contact tracers of COVID-19 patients. So all over the Philippines, 9,000 people will be deployed to be face-to-face with COVID-19 patients and contacts. And that's an opening right now. And that's high risk, high paying, but then again, it's up to you. Is
Yes,
money
yes,
more important than safety?
it's right. Or maybe share some concerns, what can be done to prevent this and make sure there's more safety measures.
True. Thank you, Ma'am Jasmine, and thank you, Rain and Joe, for that question. Anonymous attendee, just 2 more questions on Jasmine before we go.
Yeah.
What should one do when they live or work in an environment that disregards psychological safety? Thank you for this webinar, Ms. Jas.
Yes, I think if it's always a problem that's quite some time, is it because of a leader or is it the organization culture?
And if it's the living space, it could be their cohabitats. And
yeah, it could be the environment, right? The leader, as I mentioned, the leader set the tone for psychological safety. They play a very key role model. Like when I was in HR, every time I look at very enthusiastic new people joining the company, but they get very disengaged after a few months. And I wonder why. Because every time when they share ideas, the leaders maybe ask them more questions, critical questions, or mention that since you share more, you do it. So after a while, why should I do it? I just shut up my mouth.
Yeah.
Right? This plays a very key role. Are you rewarding people who speak up, share ideas and problems, or you're punishing them? Right. So that's a parenting. We set the role model, a signal from our behavior and our decisions. And of course, the culture is the next thing. Right. I think it's time for change, really huge change.
It is.
Just like now in COVID-19, you will see the way we lead will be very different. We require more people to be involved, diverse views. And with the cyberspace nowadays, you hear more psychological safety people dare to speak up in the cyberspace, right, in the social media. The younger generation, definitely, there is no fear. They want to contribute. They want to have a voice. Right, and I think that's where in Philippines or everywhere in Singapore, any countries, we are going to have a multi-generation workforce. The younger groups are coming in, taking up leaders' role, or even as your employees, they have different families, parenting style, different kind of school exposure. So psychological safety means that every employee from every level of the organization can contribute ideas. Traditionally, we think it's only the top leaders, the best departments, or the brightest cream of the crop are the ones with brilliant brains that can contribute ideas. And the rest, they're just followers or just note takers. But I think psychological safety is everyone in every level, they can contribute. They have their own perspective and experience. So I think that COVID-19 is going to be a watershed in the way how the world is going to be. We all feel unsafe now, not just in Asia, everywhere it's really unsafe, and how organizations and leaders is going to be.
Thank you, Jasmine. And for your last question.
Sure.
How can we reach our goal as a team member if we can experience anxiety and stress during work from home?
That's right. One of my slides I mentioned, right? The social distancing, being alone at home, where you do not feel connected is a trigger. Perhaps from this participant, which I look at the behaviors, the need is the trust need is very high.
Yeah.
The need to feel connected, because we're all social animals, and some of us thrive very well in trust. For me, trust is not my high need. My high need is fairness. I'm okay to work alone. But for certain people, they felt that, I'm actually very stressed. But if I have my network of my bosses and my colleagues having check-in conversations with me regularly, encouraging each other, right, I feel less stressed and able to cope. So just last month, I did a virtual empathy circle with the employees in the team. And it's so interesting to hear. The topic was about COVID-19, what can we appreciate about during these tough times. Although it's hard, what's something that we can appreciate, right? And some of them actually shared, one of them shared actually cried, and the rest of team members, when they shared their personal stories, they also cried. And I thought it was very powerful because that, although we may not have met each other face to face, we can still connect in the virtual space. And takeaway is they start to realize that I'm not alone. Right, and we are all facing the same problems. There's more empathy. So while you being alone, thinking that am I the only one feeling so stress and anxiety, is not. Perhaps a connection to the virtual space at the meeting, don't straight away go into work discussion. Have a check-in question like what I did just now, asking them, so what is something that you're grateful for during this difficult period, right? And you can notice the power, the energy of the conversation is very different. And once one people share, it's a ripple effect, virtual connection, that they start to realize that I'm not alone. And I began to know you better, and we can be more collaborative because we used to be competitive. Right now, we know that we need to work together in question like what I did just now, asking them, adapt to the situation. So what is something that you're more resilient during this difficult, be more high performing or value creating at this time? Can notice the power, the energy. So I answered the conversation.
Thank you, Jasmine, for
and
1.5 years. 1.5 hours. It felt like 1.5 years. 1.5 hours of
they start to realize that I'm not alone.
Informative
and
session,
I began to know
Q&A.
you better.
So everybody
and
put
we
your hands
can be
together
more
for
collaborative
Jasmine. Jasmine,
we
for
need
the last minute of our webinar, we call it the takeaway. What do you want us to think about tonight before we go to sleep?
That's right. Yeah, so the takeaway, as I mentioned, right, you can contact Ariva Academy if you are interested to know about how to conduct a safety workshop in the virtual space. Or in my email, I'm going to write in my chat box, right? I'm going to write here. So let's say if you are interested to try out the free profile, okay, which is to understand what is the most highest safety domain, you can drop me an email and then we can connect through a coaching session, especially for leaders and managers to understand about yourself and your team members.
So that's Jasmine at Breakthrough Catalyst. Okay, that one. Thank you, Jasmine, and everybody. Put your hands together. Hope to see you in person soon, Jasmine.
Yes, hopefully I met you last round in Philippines for our conference face to face.
Our Philippine HR Congress we met last year, so hope to see you again this year.
That's right. Sure.
Because in October, Pfizer and Sanofi, I believe, are among the two pharmaceutical companies who promise to offer the vaccine for COVID-19. And we pray that in October will all happen.
Yes, thank you so much. So we'll end the chat. And thank you all for your webinar chat. I see lots of encouragement. Thank you so much. And hopefully we can also connect again virtually or face to face in the
Connect
future,
again,
right?
and meet again face to face.
Yes.
At the SMX Convention Center.
That's right. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Jasmine.
Thank you.
And see you.
All the best. See you. Yes.
Okay, we're being flooded by thank yous and messages of gratitude. Thank you so much, Ms. Irish Malonda Samson. What a way to start the month of June. The first day of June being Monday and talking about cultivating the psychology safety for virtual teams during difficult times.
Yes, Sir Howell. I agree with our participant, Ms. Maria Asuncion Cruz. It has been a very informative session from Coach Jasmine. And in behalf of Ariva Academy, thank you so much for sharing with us your insights, your learnings about the psychological safety.
Ayan. Thank you so much, Ms. Iris.
Let's ask our participants what are their takeaways, point of views with regards to our session this afternoon.
Okay, so for our live stream, YouTube live stream participants and Zoom room participants, type in your takeaway. My takeaway is that of the safety domain, I am a high trust person. I don't just welcome people in my life. I have to trust them before I let them in. So that's why I don't have tons of friends, but I have just a few friends, and you're one of them.
Wow, thank you. I was honored. Thank you so much.
I can only let a few people into my life, people I trust. And thank you, Jasmine, for that.
Yes. So while we're waiting for the takeaways from our participants, mine is, of course, learnings about social rejection and physical pain. Pain has the same effect, of course. And well, my point of view is that
I think in any platform, maybe it's whether it's virtual or face to face, as long as the connection will be uh, has good intention, pure intentions, with heart and concern to your team, I think psychological safety will be there, and
Wonderful.
definitely what they call this, will definitely engage your team.
I agree with you 100%, Madam Irish Malonda Samson.
Okay, let's read the takeaways from Ms. Beeper Garcia. Hi, Ms. Beeper. Mine is the importance of knowing thyself on the part of the leader and on the team members. Thank you with that, Ms.
Wow,
Beeper.
thank
Okay.
you. And Melchor Cordova, Sir Melchor, thank you, Irish Howell and Ariva Academy. Every Ariva Academy webinar is a rewarding experience.
Thank you. From Lot Chuan, the safety model. Okay, that's
See, everybody love it. Everybody loves
Thank you
it.
so much for being with us today. And we hope that you will be able to somehow apply it with your own organization, with your company. And of course, Sir Howell, thank you so much for being with us in this afternoon.
Always
And
a pleasure, Miss Irish, our dear.
I will be seeing you tomorrow afternoon
Yes.
again, sir.
Tomorrow afternoon.
Thank you and see you. Bye-bye. Okay. For our viewers, please stand by because I have a lot to announce still. We would like to thank our following win-win partners. We would like to thank our official media partner, Art Plus Magazine, digital media partners, Focus Media, Globaltronics, City Advertising Ventures, Outcom, Elevate Media. For major sponsors, Pacific Cross Philippines, thank you. For win-win partners, thank you, brother. Faber-Castell, Gluta-C, Moringa O2, KFC, Mr. Donut, Tokyo, Lotus Biscuit, Boss Job. Thank you as well to Sir Technology Inc., Finma Properties, Salary Jet, Ilawi Korea, Kitosan and Carpo Consulting, Enchanted Kingdom, Disperse, Cosmetech Philippines Inc., MindChomp's virtual preschool program. To register, please call them at 0906-486-0710 or email them at disakanabe@mindchomps.org. And if you want to place your ads here, advertise your company, services, and logo, have a brand exposure to thousands of viewers through Zoom, LinkedIn, FB, and YouTube, please email us at marketing@ariva.com.ph. To stay on top of our insights and updates, please stay connected. Visit us on our social media sites. Join the Ariva Academy Facebook group. Like the Ariva Academy Facebook fan page. Follow the Ariva Academy LinkedIn page. And visit us on our website. It's www.ariva.com.ph. And if you want to watch the replay of our e-learning session this afternoon and our previous e-learning sessions, please do subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's Ariva Academy and Ariva Talks. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell button so that you will be notified on our future e-learning sessions. For our upcoming online learning session, please visit our website. It's www.ariva.com.ph to register. And we would like again to invite you on our live webinar series for a class, the HR Virtual Summit PH 2020. We have invited international and local subject matter experts. Our session with Coach Jasmine Liew is one of the part series of this HR Virtual Summit PH. This will be tomorrow. Don't forget to register. June 2, 3 to 4:30 p.m. Selling Under Fire, Secrets of Proactive Selling in a Crisis. And this will be discussed by none other than Coach MJ Tolan from United States. Transformations through growth mindsets, learning and thriving through challenges. This is a live webinar series for us, and this will be on Wednesday, June 3. This will be discussed by none other than Mr. Eric Riaga de Dios. Coach with Acts, of course, we will be joined by none other than Coach May Soriano. This will be on Tuesday next week, June 9. Don't forget to register 3 to 4:30 p.m. Another live webinar series for a cause, how to connect with clarity and confidence, building community in times of uncertainty and isolation. This will be discussed by none other than Coach Kerry Phipps from Australia, and this will be on Wednesday, June 10. Don't forget to register. Another e-learning masterclass from none other than Mr. Jonathan Yabut, how to manage the millennials in the workplace. This will be on Tuesday, June 16, 4 to 6 p.m. Another e-learning masterclass from Mr. Jonathan Yabut, Work Smart, Not Just Hard, how to boost your productivity at work. This will be on Wednesday, June 17. Don't forget, June 17, 4 to 6 p.m. E-learning masterclass, Prospecting, Cold Calling, Telephone Sales, and Closing the Deal. This will be on Thursday, June 18, 3 to 5 p.m. And we will be having Mr. Chris Randall to discuss this session. Another e-learning masterclass from Mr. Jonathan Yabut. This is the second batch of our online selling from home, how to use FB, IG, and LinkedIn for your business. This is very timely, guys. Please do join us on Wednesday, June 24, 4 to 6 p.m. And if you want to customize an e-learning session for your team, have an exclusive session for your company, please do call me at 0916-695-4418. We can customize an e-learning session for you. And please don't forget to email me at irish.arivaacademy@gmail.com. Again, thank you for joining us this afternoon. Hope to see you again tomorrow. Hope that you learn a lot with this session. Again, this is Irish Malonda Samson in Ariva. It's all about being better. Be safe, guys. Thank you so much and have a great day.